welcome back to AmityBloom. My name is Nazi, and this is part 3 of my pocket journaling series. For this journal, this is volume 1, and I have to say, by far, this is my favorite journal because in this journal, I finally found my own journaling style. A style that I wasn't, that came from me, if that makes sense. A style that I'm completely comfortable with and I know is my go-to. So you'll see how that changes in this book. So this is the cover, and a lot of people ask me, I actually make my own inserts. I don't buy them, so that's how I can customize them to my liking. So going on to the first page, I was just talking about New Year, and as you can see, I was still utilizing distress stains, but not to the extent that I was previously. I was also adding some acetate embellishment, but I think this is the last one that I add. I liked them, but I thought they were a little bit too harsh for my style. Here I'm just journaling about this guy at Kroger I saw in the Kroger parking lot. You know how some people that are homeless, they put signs up like, please, like, spare $1, but this guy had a sign that said homeless, not hopeless, and I actually talked to him, and he was heading down to Tennessee to live in like this hippie neighborhood where they lived in like trucks and buses, and it was just such an awesome story. And so I journaled about it because it's something special. You know, people really look down on homeless people, but I mean, of course there are some homeless people that are dangerous, but you would be surprised to see how many of them are homeless, not because by their situation, but by their choice. And this guy was homeless by choice. And so it really was special, and I really like journaling about it. Here I journaled in a different colored ink, and I have no idea, I can't even read it. So in this journal, I actually experimented with journaling with other colors, and then here I wrote over it in black because I just couldn't read it. This is when I got my chic sparrow. This is a cool little idea. I covered it up because there's some personal information, but write down your text messages or print them out. Here I wrote down the text messages between me and my partner, and then I added this cute little tip in that said confidential, and I stapled it. This page is one of my favorites because it's really unique. So that's a cool tip, adding some special funny text messages. Again, here, have no idea what I wrote down. So definitely will not be doing that again. I was really enjoying using different colored inks in here. And you can see that the background I was toning down. So I didn't really enjoy during this stage the bright hues from distress stains, so I was using pastels and gelato and just putting that on my pages to tone down the hue of the color. Some more tip-ins. You're talking about my puppy. He can finally walk down the stairs by himself. Here just playing archery with my siblings. This is when I opened up my Etsy and I realized that it takes a lot of time and energy, so I had a little meltdown. Talking about my friends. This is a little tip-in, and I stapled on this little notes tab. We went to see Deadpool. Great film, by the way. So, see, this is when I started adding distress stains, but not so bright of colors. So when I went to Trader Joe's to get some groceries. Here I felt horrible. Horrible. I had a virus, and I normally never get sick, so this was really weird for me. And I didn't do anything fancy. I already had distress stains on here, and I just wrote. Here, talking about a restaurant. This, I can't even read what I put down. More journaling, more tip-ins. Is when I noticed that people actually liked my YouTube videos. And then here I went, I added pastel and gelatos, and I went pink happy. Actually, fun fact, I'm actually 20 years old. So I will be filming a get to know me video later on so that you put a face to the name and know a little bit more about me. I'm talking about. That here is another camping trip that I decided to break. Instead of my first video where I added like a huge thing of tip-ins, here I decided to break it up onto 4 pages. So here's a tip-in, another tip-in, and I really wanted to document a lot because I managed to overcome my fear of heights and climb up this huge waterfall. So it was a major accomplishment. Here I started utilizing the tags that I showed in my previous video, how to make some creative tags. You can simply just with washi tape put them in or staple them onto a page. More tip-ins. As you can see, the pages, let me show you from my previous journal. The pages are a lot more pastel rather than like really bright in your face. That's kind of what I meant by using gesso and pastels. More tip-ins. Stapling. I really liked how staples look now. I'm obsessed with them. Here I stapled on a book. This was from a book page. I cut it, stapled it on, made it into a pocket, and made a tag. So I became more interactive in this journal, which I really liked. More pockets. This was when I finally found my true style. My vintage style. My style is vintage and simple. And some people might not like this. Some people might think, oh, you need more color. But this is me, and this is what I like to, this is the style that I like to use for journaling. And it works, and it makes me happy. It makes me look forward to journaling, and it just makes the journaling process enjoyable rather than stressful. And so here, this was a napkin this was napkins that I decoupaged onto here, and these were just some flowers for Christina. She was a friend that passed in a car accident, so just leaving some flowers in my journal for her. So even though this is a sad topic, but if you have loved ones, to celebrate their anniversary, you go visit their grave. But something that you can do is add flowers in your journal, or even real flowers, like dried flowers, in your journal as you're paying like your respects to them. So that's a little tip that I always like doing for, as you've noticed in my other journals, I do that for animals. If animals pass, I journal about them. Same thing with loved ones, to celebrate their anniversary. This is actually the pages that you saw me do in my journaling process video. And as you can see, my style changed. I'm not writing, like here, I didn't journal on the page. I journaled on this Project Life card that I cut up. And I put it on a paper clip. And normally this would bug me that it wasn't on the page, or that I have things that are stuck to the page. But not anymore, because I know that this is my style. No one's going to judge me. Well, if you do judge my journaling, I hope that you're, I can't help it if people judge my style, but this is what makes me happy. Here, I didn't have anything to journal about, so I added a page of my favorite washi. And then at the end, I completely loved how this design looked, and I didn't want to cover it up, so I said, I'll leave it. I'm not going to add any journaling to it. And this is finally, these last, 5-6 pages, is when I finally found my style. After, a year of journaling, I finally found my style in my 3rd notebook. So this is why I encourage everyone to start journaling right now. Even if you have a cheap, composition notebook from the dollar store, or a really fancy traveler's notebook, or sticky notes. You can even journal on sticky notes. Journal so that you have your memories archived, and that you can look back and read your memories and just see all of your memories, your thoughts, your life written onto paper. So that is it to my little mini series of my pocket journaling. I hope you enjoyed. I hope these videos gave you a little bit of inspiration, a little insight to how I journal, to how my journaling process has changed. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you again for your incredible support. I'm so humbled and flabbergasted by the love and support in this community. It's amazing. Again, have a great day, and may your day be filled with an abundance of peace and love. Bye-bye.